This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Regina League.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. My name is Regina, and I'm here in South Charlotte, and my favorite thing to do is talk to local business owners. And I'm super excited today to talk to Chris Merritt. He owns Merritt Roofing, and they were just awarded Charlotte's Best in Roofing in 2024. Congrats, Chris.
Well, thank you, Regina, and thank you for having me. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, what an honor.
Yes, it was an honor. We were voted by the people of Charlotte, so we are really happy that we were awarded that.
Well, that's incredible. So tell us a little bit about your journey, who you are, and how you got into roofing and why you decided to open your own business.
Yeah, I am a native Charlottean. I was born in Charlotte, grew up in the Waxhaw area, actually Mineral Springs, not far from Waxhaw. And so kind of what got me into roofing is a lot of people after high school went to college. I went to work, and I did a lot of jobs, framing, roofing, siding. And I actually started roofing, one of my first jobs, when I was 14 or 15 in the summers. And so that kind of started my journey in the roofing industry. And so done a lot of different things in the construction industry besides roofing, but I landed here in 2009, and we've just been at it ever since.
That's fantastic. I love that you're a unicorn. Did you know that's what you call a Charlottean?
There's not many of us left. Me and my sisters and my cousins, we all laugh about that. Yeah, I was born in Presbyterian Hospital. So
that is so cool.
I have a 2-year-old daughter who we live in South Carolina now, but we took her to Presbyterian to be born as well. So,
wow, love it, love it. So, walk us through all the services Merritt Roofing offers.
We primarily focus on roofing. I'm a licensed general contractor. I'm also a licensed commercial roofer, but we also do windows. We do siding. We install garage doors. Every now and again, we'll do painting, but we try to stick to the exteriors. Like I said, my primary focus is residential re-roofing. We don't do a lot of new construction. We like to do renovation.
Gotcha. What are some of the most common roofing issues you see in our area?
The number one leak offender is always the pipe flashings, or pipe jacks, as you call it. All my realtor friends that are listening, we work well with realtors, and you see that a lot. Yeah, plumbing vents that go through the roof, and they have rubber flashings that go around them. About every 10 years, that rubber flashing will crack. It's kind of like an old bicycle inner tube. The sun will crack it, and water will get in, and you'll see a stain on your roof. So that's probably the number one thing. And then not far behind that is just lack of maintenance. A lot of people, they won't have a roofer on the roof every 3 to 5 years to caulk the exposed nail heads and that kind of things, and keep the gutters clean to keep water backing up. But I would say pipe jacks are just, standard roof maintenance is the number one cause of leaks.
Well, most of us don't know until there's a problem. I remember at a house I had in Ballantyne, it was our neighbor who could look down on our roof that called to say, hey, something's going on. And it was actually squirrel damage. But,
yeah.
One thing leads to another. So what is your advice to homeowners? You just indicated you need to have your roof checked every so often.
Yeah. And another, it needs to be checked out after every storm by a vetted contractor, obviously. But yeah, every 3 to 5 years, you need to have a good roofer up on your roof, just looking at the flashings, the pipe jacks, any high traffic areas where leaves might build up, those kind of things where water would back up and reside. So just, it's not maintenance like a car or anything, but you do need to have someone check your roof about every 3 to 5 years. And or if you have a high wind storm, a hailstorm, you need to have a qualified roofer on your roof, just making sure that it's sound.
Well, you are definitely in a very competitive industry, so it is a challenge, I'm sure, for consumers to decide who to call. So what advice would you give a homeowner when choosing a roofing company, and what sets you apart?
Well, I would say do your research. get on the Better Business Bureau, look there. If someone has a complaint, see how they resolve the complaint. See if they were nice and they were courteous. So that's a good starting point. Also, check out the reviews on Google, where we have I think 190 5-star reviews in the Fort Mill office, about 80 5-star reviews in the Charlotte office. So just taking the time to check the reviews, check the license. And one tricky thing in North Carolina that a lot of people don't really understand is you could be a roofer in North Carolina and do a roof, and I think it's under 40,000. They just changed the law last year, and you don't have to have a license. So it's better if you have a licensed contractor on your roof, but in North Carolina, you don't have to have a license to be a roofer. So, checking the reviews, checking to see whether they're actually licensed, and then checking if they workers' comp and general liability. Those things are very important in case someone gets hurt. Accidents do happen. If a ladder falls off and hits a car in high wind or something like that, you want to make sure that they have the insurance to take care of you.
That's a very good point. Well, what are some of the misconceptions when you're talking to clients, calling you, looking for quotes? What do you run up against?
Oh, well, it's, a lot of people want to use price comparisons because it's, like I said, a lot of roofers don't even have to have license. A lot of roofers don't have general liability or workers' comp. And so a lot of people will think they're comparing apples to apples because, a roof is, like you said earlier, most people can't see it. So they don't understand what's being done on the roof. And if you don't, you really want to vet a contractor, make sure that they know what they're doing, make sure that they're licensed, make sure that they have the proper insurance. And if you've got a level playing field, then that kind of eliminates a lot of people who may not do as good of a job. Typically, even a bad roof install might take 3 to 5 years before you know it. So by the time you realize that you've got a bad install, it's too late. So just using a qualified contractor, vetting them, that really helps eliminate a lot of the misconceptions. Yeah,
well, it's a big expense too. So, is there a warranty on a roof when a new one's put on?
Yes, they're workmanship warranties. There's generally 2 types of warranties. You have a workmanship warranty. That's where if I was driving a nail and I drove it in crooked and it leaked around that crooked nail, that's considered workmanship. And then you have a manufacturer's warranty. We're an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor. The majority of our shingles have a limited lifetime, which is a 50-year warranty on it. So there's generally 2 types of warranties on a roof.
Gotcha. So are there scams that you're seeing happening in your industry you can kind of share with us?
Yeah, the biggest scam we do is we do a lot of restoration work when someone has hail damage or wind damage and there's insurance involved. What a lot of these storm chasers will do, they'll come to town and they'll talk someone into giving the roofing company the first check, because generally in insurance there's 2 checks, right? A deposit and then a finish up check. And the guys will take a deposit and then they'll just split town. So that's the biggest one that we see. Now we've helped people who have been scammed out of that. I've seen a lot of different kinds of scams. We saw a lady in Charlotte that got her roof painted one time. Some guys showed up with paint and they painted her roof black.
And she thought she was getting new shingles?
She paid for new shingles. That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
So going back to what I previously stated, vetting a contractor is really important. A lot of times, like we're at Owens Corning, we install their asphalt composite shingles more than any other. And they actually vet us because we're a platinum contractor. We're able to offer warranties that just normal roofers can't offer because we have been vetted by them. So that's another way that, a consumer can protect themselves. It's just doing proper vetting.
That's very good information. So how does the process go? Okay, I'm looking for a roofer. I call you guys. Do you do estimates, free estimates?
We do. There's a lot of different ways to get a hold of us. The best way is through merrittroofing.com. And there's actually a tool on, I think it's the right-hand side that you can click on, and it'll give you an instant quote. And that'll give you an idea. That tool is really good for realtors as well. If they just want to have a general idea of what a roof's going to cost, it gives 3 different breakdowns and prices depending on what material you use. The website is the best way to get us, and that's merrittroofing.com. There's a form you could fill out that comes directly to me, and we monitor that 7 days a week. So we'll get right back with you.
Perfect. Yeah, we haven't had a hailstorm in a long time in Charlotte, have we?
We had we serviced about 90 mile radius of Charlotte. Rock Hill, South Carolina had a huge hailstorm last year with 2 and 3 inch hail, which is very, very unusual.
Oh my God. What month was that? That is
April
crazy.
20th. That it's etched in my mind because we had 150 phone calls the first day.
Well, think of that situation when everybody's got the damage. I mean, that has to be incredible to have all that thrown at you at one time, and impossible, I guess.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it hit a lot of underprivileged homes, and we work with the city in helping a person that didn't have insurance and didn't have money. So we help work in conjunction with the city and helping a few people get back and not having to pay anything out of pocket. So we try to give back to the community as well. That's
amazing, Chris. So when you're not running this fabulous company, what do you like to do for fun?
I love spending time with my family, a beautiful wife. I have 3 daughters, 1 stepdaughter, a 16-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old daughter. We have a new addition.
Wow.
So at 52, that's very interesting. I have a French bulldog named Lola who is very, very undisciplined. She doesn't listen to anything. She is a lot of fun. And I have she's 3 or 4. And I have a new puppy. I have a lab that's almost a year, and she gets bossed around by the Frenchie. We live at Lake Wylie. We moved there last year. That was my lifelong dream, is to have a lake house. So we moved south a little bit and have a boat on the lift. So we get out on the water. Me and my father fish together a lot. So big fishermen. So that's about it. The business keeps me really busy. Love spending time with my family and my wife and my kids, and then getting out on the boat and see if I can't talk a fish into biting.
Well, I'm just thinking all those female hormones you have in that house. That's a lot. Dogs and girls and a wife.
Story of my life. I've got 3 sisters on top of that. So.
Well, then you know how to handle it well. Chris, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and congrats on that amazing award of being Charlotte's Best in Roofing in 2024. That's fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you, Regina. Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpsouthcharlotte.com. That's gnpsouthcharlotte.com, or call 980-351-5719.